What's going on, Stim Junkies? Hi, Stim Ace here. Welcome back to yet another episode in the interview series. Today, I have somebody on here that I consider a good friend, a brother from another mother, somebody who I've really gotten close to over the past couple of months, somebody who I view also as a mentor figure, somebody who really helped me out both in my personal life when it came to supplement reviews and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's an absolute honor for me to be joined by my good friend and the top supplement reviewer in the game in 2025, Garage Gym Homie. What's going on, my brother?
Very kind words. What's up? What up? What up? How's it going, man? How's it going? This is the first time today that we're actually talking in real life here.
It's crazy because I talk to you almost regularly, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on WhatsApp, lots of voice notes. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff regularly, but we never actually videoed before, which is really crazy to think about. I'm always sending voice notes while I'm at work. You're doing the same. And we're chatting. We're always in communication about a lot of stuff. But first time we're on video today, man. So it's an absolute honor to have you debuting here on the Stim Ace channel. How you feeling today, my friend?
I'm feeling blessed, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, man. I think we're on a good path together, man, you know, growing the channels and able to support each other. And it's a nice thing, man. It's good to connect.
So speaking of your channel, obviously everybody watching the stream right now knows who everyone knows who Stim Ace is. Everybody knows who Garage Gym Homie is. But in case we have a couple of people tuning in that are discovering this on the algorithm, tell us a little bit about the Garage Gym Homie channel and what it's all about.
Well, you know, I made it when they shut down the gyms here in Michigan during COVID, Gretchen Whitmer shut us down here, and me and my brother were living together at the time in my house here, and we're like, man, we got to get some workout equipment. So we went on Facebook Marketplace and some other places. We tried to get some equipment together. And I made a decision, man. I said, man, we're spending some money on equipment. I'm either going all in and never going back to the gym, or I'm all out. And I'm just going to wait till they reopen the gyms again, and I'll work out with some bands and, you know, whatever, a few things we have. I said, I'm going all in, man. I'm going all in. And then the gym came. And I said, this could be, I can make a YouTube channel out of this. We can do, you know, all the stuff that touches close to my heart, you know, addiction recovery, supplement reviews. I used to watch, you know, I was watching Fitness Deal News. And so I was thinking like, man, I could do that. You know, I could do what he's doing. You know, this could be fun. And so I said, this could be like more like a one-stop shop: bodybuilding, nutrition, you know, addiction, spirituality, garage gym training, everything that I love in my life. And hey, I followed through. Very few things in my life I've done that I followed through with. I picked up a lot of things in my life and I didn't follow through with them. You know, when I got sober, I bought an Xbox. I'm going to be a gamer. I think I played for 10 minutes, you know, and I ended up selling it. I bought a guitar. I'm going to learn guitar. Man, that thing just sat there collecting dust. So this is like one of few things that I actually followed through with in my life, you know, this channel. So it holds dear to my heart, you know.
I can relate to a lot of that because when it comes to committing to hobbies and certain stuff, I've wanted to try so many things. Guitar, obviously, I'm a metalhead, so I've always wanted to learn how to play guitar. Other than learning how to play Iron Man, which literally anybody can learn how to play that song, I don't know anything. And
I knew Iron Man. Yeah.
Everybody knows Iron Man. It's literally just the first two strings. I mean, I remember the chords, but I never followed up on anything either in my life. I tried learning Japanese back when I was still single. I was kind of hoping to go to Japan and meet a girl over there. So I was studying that for like 2 years. Once I got to the third alphabet known as kanji, I quit because it's about 2,600 characters and they all look the same. Wow. So I tapped out at that point. But I remember when you mentioned right now about the pandemic and how you started building your gym. Do you remember my early videos where I had like the barbell here in the background? Do you remember those old videos? Of course.
Yeah,
so that was literally my start. You know, pandemic happened. I spent, don't even ask, $200 on a pair of 40-pound dumbbells on eBay, being jacked up from $50 to $200. But I paid for it
Yeah.
because I needed to work out, you know. So between
They were
that and the
gouging.
bands,
They were gouging over there on during the pandemic on the weights. Yeah.
oh my God, people were buying them from Walmart for like 40, $50, selling for
It was nuts.
$200. That was just
Yeah.
absolutely insane, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, dark times, crazy, feels like a fever dream. But thank God we're over that.
And then
So
the last thing I was going to say about the channel, you know, the really the important part too, I remember thinking, man, like I want a way to still connect with addicts and alcoholics, because I used to go to the treatment center on the first Saturday of every month for 7 years. I never missed unless I was out of town or something.
wow.
And I'd speak to 60, 70 inpatients at the rehab. And I would give them an hour and 15-minute, hour and a half lecture about my story and how to recover from addiction. And man, I was crushed when they closed the doors to the treatment centers during COVID. I was really, because that was such a great way for me to meet addicts and alcoholics and sponsor them through the steps and tell my story and connect with people. And so I remember when I started the channel, I was like, this is going to replace that essentially, connecting with addicts and alcohol. So that was really the number one thing for me, with
I
the
mean, you can
channel.
literally connect with people around the world. I obviously have no
Amazing.
affiliation to any of the, Alcoholics Anonymous or any of that stuff, but I
Right.
have been able to meet people literally with this little tiny channel that I have. I was able to meet people from all around the world and make actual genuine connections. So I feel
Yeah.
blessed in that regard. And obviously having you in my life is a huge blessing as well. So really appreciate your friendship.
Thank you.
But we're going to get into everything. You mentioned your story, and we are going to get to your story. You guys watching this right now, make sure to like the video. We are going to get into everything. There's no topic offhand. We are going to go deep dive into the mind of Garage Gym Homie. And we're going to begin. We're just going to get straight to it. So tell me a little bit about your life growing up. Obviously, I know there was drugs involved, prison, and we're going to get into all that. But how did everything start? Tell us a little bit about Ari.
I came from, I'm in Metro Detroit, nice, pretty good suburban area here, outside of Detroit here in Michigan. And just came from a divorced family. Parents got divorced when I was 7. I grew up with, all the opportunities as a kid, to do all this stuff, go to summer camp, do, all the good stuff a little Jewish kid gets to do, and, but there was a lot of fighting in my home, a lot of, toxic, it was very, just a ton of fighting that I grew up with and stuff like that. So I grew up, man, like, not because of that, but because I'm an addict, I grew up with a lot of fear. I was terrified growing up. I remember just being in like 2nd grade, man, and just being, something was always like different about me, like than the other kids. It felt like, I would be held back from recess because I was misbehaving, and all the other kids were, I was just always like I was just something different. And then I grew up, and it always felt like in school, like everybody knew exactly what was going on except me. It felt like, I was always like terrified, team sports. I was always like, felt like everyone knew in the game what was going on but me,
You
so
were just in
finally
your head from a young age. You were just in
I
your
was
head.
in my head from a young age, and in my head with fear, and I come to find out, like, the addict and alcoholic is riddled with fear, like full of fear. So that makes perfect sense looking back. And I remember when I was 14, I smoked weed for the first time at a Halloween party. And it felt like that fear went away. That illusion that I fit in, I belonged, I found my identity, I was part of something, I was like a skateboarder, and always loved skate. That's why I gravitate toward bodybuilding, skateboarding, snow skiing, like things where I'm not me versus a team, but it's more like me and me, versus myself. And but when I got high, man, like I didn't even get high the first time. I pretended I was, I just pretended.
Same here. Same
Yeah.
exact thing with me. I'll tell you about that a little bit later.
Yeah. I didn't want to tell people like, no, I don't feel it. So I pretended I was high, for like the first 4 times of smoking weed, but I had the high from feeling like I belonged, with this, like, oh man, and I just took off to the races, man, like selling dope, like being like, it was everything in my
Oh,
life,
wow.
who I was, at a very young age. And I was obsessed, man, with mind altering substances from a very young age. I used to run in my dad's bathroom and steal pills. He's not an addict, so he'd have leftover Vicodin or this, codeine, Percodan, whatever the heck it was. And I'd run back and look on Heroin website and see what this pill does and what this person's. I was like infatuated, man, with mind altering substances.
Wow.
So I sought it out, at a young age. I'm just the kind of guy who goes from 0 to 100, and that addiction is like deeply, deeply ingrained within me.
I'm kind of the same way, when it comes to being an extremist, and this literally is every aspect of my life. I have an addictive personality in general, whether it's me playing an online video game like World of Warcraft, or whether it was getting into pot. And that I was addicted to pot for many years. People will say, oh, marijuana is not addictive. That's BS. I was addicted, and
yeah,
I never actually took things to the next level. I had opportunities at parties in my later teen years to try other stuff, and that was kind of a rule I made for myself personally, because I know my personality. And even my dealer had other stuff at the time, hash and pills and stuff, but I never crossed that line, because I knew that if I go to that next level, there's no coming back for me. It's very rare that people get to that level and then they come back, which is why you are one of the big success stories, especially considering what you've done with your channel and how you're able to bounce back. To me, that is inspiring on so many levels, and I know you're inspiring a lot of other people. But I wanted to just touch upon what you said earlier, when you didn't feel high the first time, the first 4 times you said, correct?
probably. Yeah. 4 times sounds right. Yeah.
It was the same with me. I was a bit of a late bloomer, fat kid, nerdy, introverted, did not have a lot of friends in high school. So when the cool kids approached me to start smoking cigarettes at 17 years old, I was happy to join. My dad smoked cigarettes, and we used to literally go around the block. We used to hide behind the bushes in one of these apartment buildings, puff up, and then spray Axe body spray, as if the teacher didn't know what was up. But one day, one of my buddies pulled out a joint, and I was so naive. I was 17 years old, but I was so innocent and naive. I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, why does this cigarette look so funny and there's no filter? So he's like, oh, it's a special cigarette. Just try it out. It's from Turkey. He made up some BS. He was trolling me in real life. And I remember hitting it, and it tasted funny, but it didn't do anything. All it did was knock me out. I went back to class. I just knocked out for like 2 hours until lunchtime, and that was pretty much it. It wasn't until like 2 times later where I felt it. But it hit me so hard when you said that it kind of shut the noise in your head, the insecurities, the worries, the constant noise,
Right.
which I have and I deal with on a regular basis. When I first had pod, or rather the second or third time, it shut that noise, and it just made me okay with being present and in the moment. No overthinking, no thinking about the future. And that is what got me addicted. It wasn't necessarily the good feeling, the high. It was just the fact that my brain was able to shut off, and I was able to enjoy things in the moment without overthinking. You can relate to that, right?
Yeah, I relate to that. I just feel like everything, like with the addict, alcoholic, like the addict, like everything up here is like times 100 a normal person. Like let's say there's a resentment. Like I could be getting a fight with my wife, and 2 hours later she's like moved on, and the next day I'm still stewing over it. It's like if I'm not treating it. Not treating it, so it's just like. It's very noisy up here for an addict, and it's something that has to be treated constantly, or else it just destroys us. Our heads are just our worst, just our worst enemy. When it's untreated, and yeah, I'm just blessed, man. It progressed so quickly into a lot of legal trouble. I've been arrested 20 times. I've been in
20 times?
20 times, man. I've been to 20 rehabs, sober livings, detoxes, halfway houses, inpatient rehabs. I've been to county jail in 3 states. I've been to 2 different state penitentiaries in California, and just the fact that I didn't die is it's mind blowing to me, because there was I did so much risky behavior. I mean, I was a full blown, from age 18, 19, 18 is when I first tried it. And then 19, 20, it really took off. Heroin addiction up till age 27, and IV heroin and crystal meth addiction. And I look back at that person I'm describing and I think, man, how the heck did I do that? I could never put a needle in my arm today. I can't imagine. I'm scared, dude. I get a new pre-workout and I'm scared to take it, let alone a bag of dope from some dude in LA. I mean, like,
You
I look
literally
back,
text
like, I
me and
don't
ask me
know.
sometimes.
Yeah, like I get a new pre-workout. I'm like, man, has anyone tried this? Like 600, I've reviewed 600 pre-workouts now, and I'm still scared of some sketchy ones. Like I still get, a little sketched out from them. But I would just take a bag of dope off someone I didn't know off the streets and put it in my arm, not knowing what was in it. It's amazing, And I look back, I'm like, how the heck did I do that? Like it's not even the same person I am today. It's like, it's just kind of a surreal thing to think that's the life I lived. It feels like I'm talking about somebody else.
It's crazy. And that literally is divine intervention. I believe that's God telling you that he had another plan for you. And no matter what, no matter how deep down you get, there's always a road to redemption. I do believe that genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
And, like you said, you at that point when you're an addict and you're in that full blown mode, you don't care where you're getting it. You don't care if it's dirty or tainted or whatever, or shady dealer. You're just going to get whatever you can get at that moment, which is
It's crazy. Yeah.
So at what point did you realize this is too much? Because you said you started kind of at like 14, 15, right? Dabbling with a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm assuming when you're a teenager, it's fun. You're going to parties, you're playing video games high with your friends. It feels good. But at what point did you cross into that next threshold where you're like, okay, this is no longer a fun hobby that I'm doing with friends, but now I kind of got myself deep into it? When was that moment of realization for you?
I started getting arrested a lot when I was 19, 20, 21. And then I had to take off. I don't know that I had that realization until I really got sober. I don't know that I really had that I guess I knew that it was too much. Like when I was dope sick and trying to get off heroin, like so many times I've been, withdrawing, and I knew it. I just was so busy trying to survive that I don't know that I had that exact realization. Very hard to describe, but when I left Michigan because I was going to go to jail for 2 years here, and I hopped on a Greyhound and went to LA to avoid the legal trouble, and I ended up staying in LA for almost 8 years. I knew it was too much then. I knew I was in too deep. But the train had taken off, man. I mean, metaphorical, aside from the Greyhound, it just was, I was just going. There was no stopping it, until I was just ready to be done. I mean, even when I went to prison and I was sober in there I didn't do anything when I was in prison. And then I still never had sober thinking. I smoked weed in prison. I wasn't sober in there. No, I never was fully sober. Never,
Even in prison, you're saying?
Even in prison, I wasn't fully sober. Even in LA County jail, I was doing heroin. And even I'd have some dry time when I went to rehabs and stuff, but I was never fully ready to be done for good. I was just never fully ready to do what it takes, and be done for good until I was, until I finally was, till it got bad enough. And that was when I went to Cedar Sinai Hospital in the west part of LA. They treated me there a few times, but this last time I had a staph infection on the back of my leg. They had to put me out, lance it, and I had to stay in the from shooting dope in my leg. I got horrible MRSA and abscesses, and they had to put me out. I stayed in the hospital for a week, and even there, I was still getting high. I was having, even when I was in the hospital, I was still getting high, and I was 2 days out of the hospital. I went to jail. They kicked in the door at a motel 2 days after I got out of the hospital. They did a warrant check at a hotel. They used to go to the shady hotels in LA, and the cops would ask the desk people, "Let me see all the clients here," and they would run warrant checks on them because they knew
Wow.
probably some people there. So they kicked the door in. Me and my girlfriend at the time were in there, and they took me to jail. I stayed in jail for 8 days out of 180 because it was so overcrowded. And my brother came out and sent me home the day I got out of jail, and I never looked back. And
Thank God.
he happened to come out to LA that day. He thought he was visiting me in rehab. He didn't even know I was in jail and the hospital and all that stuff. And he still came out there, and happened to be the day I got out on early release. Just the
Wow.
stars aligned, and they were letting me out. And I was at the holding tank, and I called my brother. I said, "Are you still coming out to LA?" He said, "I just landed." I said, "Pick me up at the jail." And I had nowhere else to go, man. I had nowhere else to go. The rehab wouldn't take me back that I was at previously. I had nothing left there. I mean, nothing but death. I was homeless. I had lost everything. I was dope sick. I had the incision in my leg, fighting a staph infection still. And I literally had nothing left. And he sent me home on a Greyhound because I couldn't fly, because I still had all those warrants from years before.
Wow.
When I left Michigan, I still had all the warrants. I came home. I got clean. I never looked back, man. I did heroin the whole ride home. I lied to my brother. I said, "I need some Vicodin." I had him take me to get dope. So I had enough heroin to stay well on the Greyhound trip, the 2-day Greyhound trip home.
Wow. So you snuck that in.
There's nothing to sneak in. They don't check you on a Greyhound.
No, I mean, like, you hid it from your brother. You didn't tell your brother you're going to pick that up, right?
I told him I was getting Vicodin.
Vicodin. Okay.
I said I need Vicodin just to stay well. He took me to the dope dealer. I got heroin.
Gotcha.
And I did it on the way. The last stop was in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I did heroin for the last time at the Greyhound stop. I never looked back, man. I never looked back. I got home and got sober and never looked back. And that would be 12 years ago this coming January.
Absolutely incredible. I'm so proud of you, man. Just as a fellow friend, I mean, that's inspiring and incredible. I want to get into the recovery process next, because that's the next couple of questions, the topic. But before I do, I just have a question about, you said you were getting high in jail. Now, I'm obviously terrified of jails. I'm a very good kid when it comes to that kind of stuff. Never been to jail.
Yeah.
But I've always had a fascination watching TV shows that take place in jail, whether it was Oz on HBO or Orange is the New Black, which was a little bit more comedic, or Wentworth. I've watched a lot of prison shows because they make for very interesting television. Obviously, real life, there's nothing fun or interesting about that. But in the shows, they depict certain things like people smuggling in the drugs and whatnot. And you mentioned that you were smoking weed and even doing other stuff while you were in jail. How does that work exactly? I mean, do you have to, obviously someone has to sneak it in, but then do you owe them money, or do you pay them in like other means with commissary? How does that work exactly? How would you get the stuff while you're in jail?
Well, so it depends where you're at and how it works, but I'll tell you this. Jails in LA are very racially segregated. And that doesn't mean they separate you. Like, I'll be in a dorm with like 200 people in LA County Jail. And when I say racially segregated, I mean you only really associate with your race for the most part. like whites with whites, Hispanics with Hispanics, blacks with blacks. So as a white boy, you take care of other white boys. So when white boy has heroin in there, he's just sharing it. You know, he's just sharing it. So I did heroin for like a month in there, I remember, without paying $1, you know, just because when you're a white boy and you have it like that, you're expected, there's like a camaraderie in there amongst your race, you know. Now, if you want to buy it, yeah, you pay with commissary. There's multiple ways to pay for dope. It's funny, I haven't even thought about this since I was in there. So you could either pay for commissary, or you can have your people on the outside pay their people on the outside through you know, whatever means, you know, and they'll tell them when they got the money, like, hey, my girlfriend's gonna, you know, PayPal your girlfriend. This was before PayPal, so they used to do Visa gift cards and stuff like that.
Wow.
You know, stuff like that. And I don't know if it was before PayPal, but PayPal, it wasn't popular like it was now. You know, that wasn't the means people would do it. And so they would get the phone calls saying like, yeah, they got the money, and they would give you the dope. The craziest thing about jail in California is all the drugs in jail happen to be like the best drugs ever. For whatever reason, they were always like top quality drugs. It was insane. And then in prison, I was selling weed, and I would just get, you know, you get it. The visitors would figure out how to drop it off, and they would drop it off for the highway crew. There was a very low security highway crew who would clean up the highways in prison. I wasn't one of them. But there's people with security levels that were lower than mine, and they would go clean up the roads, and they knew where they were going to clean up, and they would have cell phones dropped off, you know, in a McDonald's bag. So someone would pretend it's trash and they'd sneak it back in the prison.
Wow.
And it's an amazing, extremely well organized, structured system that the inmates run in at least in California, in the jails and prisons. It's unbelievably structured, and whatever you've seen on TV in a lot of cases doesn't touch what's real, you know. Actually, you know, you would think it's dramatized, but the structure and the how meticulous all of the organization is amongst the inmates is it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it sounds like even crazier than the stuff on TV. And obviously they have to have other newer methods to actually get the stuff in, because if they reveal the secrets on TV, chances are they're onto them in real life. You know what I mean? So
they're always coming up with crazy, crafty ways to get, but the guards bring it in. And then there's also people who, I mean, it's, you know, California is all run by gangs. So there's people who purposely get arrested just so they know they're going to jail, so they could bring stuff in.
That's
insane. So they have it packed up inside of them already, and they know they're going to do a low, a misdemeanor or something just to get in there, just so they do their 2 days in there so they can get stuff inside. You know,
that's crazy.
That's how organized it is.
That's absolutely insane. So yeah, wow. That's freaking crazy, man.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to get into talking about the actual recovery process. Before we do that, guys, don't forget to like the video, okay? Share the video, subscribe to the channel, and obviously subscribe to Garage Gym Homie. We are going to get into all the plugs by the end. Also, one more thing to you guys in the chat right now. I want you to drop whatever questions you have for Garage Gym Homie down below. We are going to replay the chat afterwards. We have a segment at the end of the video. We're going to answer all your questions. So whatever questions you have, drop them in. We're not going to read them now, but we're going to highlight everything in the end, and we're going to get to all those questions. So whatever you have for the man GGH, put it down below. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the recovery process. You
Sure.
said you took the Greyhound, you got back to Michigan. Walk us through the process to getting sober, 12 steps, finding God again,
Yeah.
and everything there.
Yeah, that's great. So my first day home, I saw my doctor, and he put me on the right medication so I could uh, fight the staph infections that I had, antibiotics and stuff. But I was also withdrawing from heroin, and so he put me on detox medications. The funny part is that I went to 20 rehabs, but when I was actually ready to get sober, I didn't go to rehab. I
Wow.
was, so I I was just ready. I didn't need rehab. I was ready to be done, and so I didn't know like how to really stay sober. I knew that the answer was in the 12 steps. I didn't really understand the 12 steps and what they meant in depth or anything like that, even though I'd been to all those rehabs and stuff. So I went to an AA meeting, and a guy walked up to me, man, and this older black guy, big black dude, and he said, I'm going to sponsor you. And he never asked. I never had to ask for a sponsor. It was my first meeting back, man. I was at the right place, and he just offered himself to me and said, I'm going
Wow.
to sponsor you. And all these years, man, I thought you have to find a sponsor and raise your hand in a meeting and ask for a sponsor and all that. And this guy just gave himself to me, man, just offered his sponsorship. And he showed me the book of AA, and he said, do you see where we're at right now? I was like, yeah, we're at AA. He's like, no, we're not at AA. He's like, we're at an AA meeting. And he showed me the book. He's like, this is AA. This is AA, this book. This is real AA. And I was like, man, everything I thought I knew was just shattered, because I had all these years I said I was at AA, but I was really just sitting at a meeting, which doesn't really treat the illness. So sitting at a
Mm-hmm.
meeting for an hour doesn't really do anything to change who I am. It's just sitting there talking, and the book is a 12-step guide. It's how to recover from addiction, how to recover from alcoholism. And I learned that you can recover. You're not always a recovering alcoholic. You can be a recovered alcoholic. You can get well. And I didn't know that there was so much bad information. And right away, man, I didn't waste a minute. I went through those steps as fast as I could out of the book with his guidance. And he took me right through the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, right through them, man. And, dude, I wasn't even couple months sober, and I was sponsoring other people. It
Wow.
just happened so fast. And then I had to turn myself in when I had to make amends in step 9 and 10, or step 8 and 9, I mean, where you make amends. I had to make amends with the courts, man. I still had those warrants, so I turned myself in to the
Wow.
courts, and I had at 4 months sober, I went to the courts, turned myself in. I had 3 warrants for my arrest here. And I went to the one court, I went to the second court, and I had to do 6 months in county jail sober.
Wow.
And to clean up my past, man. But, I decided at the beginning of the journey that I was willing to go to any length to get sober, any length, any length. And if that means sitting in jail for 6 months to clean up the past, man, I was fine with it. I was ready to go back to prison. I would have been fine with that, but they knew I spoke from my heart at court, and that I made amends, and they could see that I was sincere. And my sponsor was there. I had a therapist I was seeing that was there. My whole family was there. They had my back. And dude, I spent 6 months in county jail, and I was able to sponsor like 10 addicts and alcoholics in jail through the steps, out of the book, in jail. So it's like the best time I've ever done in my life, man. There's nothing like it. I
Wow.
felt free sitting in jail, you know.
So I was going
And
to ask you, that was going to be my next question. I was going to ask you, what was the difference between this stint that you spent in the jail as opposed to the prison? But you kind of answered it. You really had a purpose. You went in there, and that's
yeah,
what kept you going for those 6 months.
yeah, I knew, man, that I went in there free because my family had my back. I had made amends to them already. They already knew, they knew from their heart I was not going back to getting high, that this was it for me. They saw the change in me because, man, just God took me and so quickly just molded me, man, into being a completely different person in like a second. I 2 weeks after getting sober, I did the third step where I made a contract with God that I was going to follow through with the rest of the steps. Man, I haven't had a thought or feeling to drink or get high since I walked out of that synagogue after saying the third step. And it's been almost 12 years, man. And God just like removed that obsession in an instant. Like it was like this white lightning experience where the obsession to drink and get high was just gone, like completely gone. Like the problem was just removed. Like there were no triggers. There were no, oh, you got to avoid bars and this and that. I didn't have to think like that at all. I felt like totally like it was just lifted from me. And that's what it means to be a recovered addict, man. Recovered, like the upset. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't return if I don't treat this thing right here and stay on the path. If my life just becomes this insane thing and I start acting in non-spiritual ways and my head starts filling up with resentment and fear and selfishness and dishonesty, I'm confident that the obsession to get high can come back and return, and I'm screwed. That's why I got to constantly be treating my head,
You gotta be on guard. You gotta always be on guard.
That's part of the steps too. I mean, that's part of the steps, so the steps are just this perfect formula on how to build a relationship with God and live a spiritual life and clean up your past and continue to grow spiritually. And I'll never tell anyone the 12 steps are the only way to get sober. I think that for a real addict or alcoholic like me, I believe spirituality is the way. And if you can find it through some other avenue, then that's great. But the 12 steps gives you a very perfect blueprint on a step-by-step guide on how to do it. So it's been amazing.
That's incredible. But the way you describe it, it's like you have to be vigilant at all times because, even though you're not currently feeling that burden, that addiction mindset, you're saying theoretically, it could come up if you're not vigilant with your training, with your life, with your family. And this is why you are involved in as many things as you are involved in. I'm assuming because you're just staying busy, keeping yourself active on your purpose, on your mission to help others. And that's how you're able to keep this going and keep all those negative thoughts out of your mind. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. When I started this quest I was on, it was like I had a decision in front of me that this was going to be everything or nothing. There was no like middle of the road anymore. It's like I gave my 110% heart into getting high, like every bit of it into getting high, doing dirt and my addiction. Why would I give any less to my spirituality or getting sober? It wouldn't make sense,
100%.
Yeah.
So speaking of staying busy and, being active and doing, essentially involving yourself in all these things, let's talk about the Garage Gym Homie channel. By the way, the #1 reviewer on YouTube right now, 45,000 subscribers. Congratulations to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Really, really happy for you guys.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the Garage Gym Homie brand. When did you decide that you want to get into reviewing supplements? I know you mentioned our friend TJ, Fitness Deal News. Shouts out to TJ, the OG supplement reviewer. But tell us a little bit about that. What got you into?
Well, we started an Instagram called the Garage Gym Bros, me and my brother. Oh. And we didn't work at it enough to take off, and I kind of got a feeling that, it seemed like, I don't know that he really had his heart in it, like making this thing take off. I just don't think we did it long enough. And then I saw one day my brother made his own Instagram, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm doing this myself, you know? And so I'm like, what am I going to name the channel? And I don't know, man. It's just one of those things that came to me like clear as day, where there was no thought or trying. You know, you ever had like a idea that it's like God put it in your head, but like it was effortless. I just said Garage Gym Homie. Like it just came like that effortless. You know, I just heard it. Garage Gym Homie. It wasn't like I was like, here's 10 names. Which one should I choose? It was just came to me as effortless as possible. I was like, all right, that sounds good. Garage Gym.
I'm sorry to cut you off, because that's literally how I came up with the name Stim Ace. I was on the subreddit, you know, I was active on the subreddit before I rebranded my YouTube channel, and my username, I don't even remember why this was my username, but it was Ace of Base. Like the band Ace of Base. I have no idea why I made that my username, but I did. And then I was thinking of using that as a YouTube name when I decided to rebrand, but I'm like, I can't be Ace of Base. You know, they're going to come after me with copyrights and stuff. And then I'm like, what am I doing? I'm a high stim pre-workout enthusiast, Stim Ace. Voila. There we go. There was never even a second or third option. It just straight up went to that. So yeah, I can definitely relate.
Yep. So I was like, man, Garage Gym Homie. And I told my brother, and TJ from Fitness Steel News, I was kind of consulting with him because I reached out to him, and, you know, he was a friend of mine. I was like, I mean, he wasn't really a friend at that point. I just was a subscriber of his channel, and I reached out. I was like, hey man, I want you to know a little bit about me. You know, I'm a recovered addict, and I really like your videos, and thinking about starting the channel myself. And dude, he was really nice, man. We video chatted. He gave me some time. He gave me some pointers on how to do it. He was really supportive, and you know, told me I should like go on Fiverr and you know, get a like a logo, intro and outro for the video, you know, like all that. And so I told my brother, and I was like, hey man, this is gonna cost like $200, like, oh my God, you know, like so much. And you know, it's funny how big of a deal that sounds, you know, when I say it now, but I was like, should I really invest in this? And my brother was like, if you're really going to do this thing and go all in, you know, then you should do it. And I was like, I am going to do this. I'm going to go all in on the channel and really like work at this thing, you know. And I had no idea it would turn into what it did today. And I don't mean the fact that it's like such a big channel, because it's not. I mean, dude, like on the scheme of fitness guys, like it's a small channel, you know, there's guys with millions, you know. But what I mean by turned into is like the relationships, the opportunity to make some side money, the fact that I've had 3 pre-workouts with my name on it, the growing experience that I've had, the way I've been able to share my story and sponsor countless alcoholics through the steps that I met through the channel who have reached out to me. Just the stuff people don't see. Like, you know, what's behind the scenes because you run a channel. All the stuff that people don't see is kind of what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. You know, it's like there's a lot there, and it's a lot goes into this, you know.
People don't realize, a lot of people, and I'm not coming from a place of arrogance or anything, but really a lot of people don't realize what goes on behind the scenes just to release one review, you know, let alone if you're doing a series or collaborating with somebody. Right. I mean, this interview here has literally been weeks, if not like a month and a half in the works, you know, so it's all about all the nitty gritty that goes behind the scenes. 100%.
It's a lot, man. And then there was like a point not too long after I started the channel where I realized like I have to look at Garage Gym Homie as a brand and not like a person, you know, and that kind of changed things. So I learned how to grow a brand, you know, and create a brand. And what does my brand represent? Like, what value do I bring to the viewer that a lot of, you know, somebody else doesn't? You know, what reason do I give somebody to watch my channel? You know, like, we all have to bring value to the viewer in our own way. And mine is like from the angle that like I'm gonna like if I'm gonna do a pre-workout review, like I get to talk about God and addiction, and maybe some people can relate to having a noisy head because I talk about living from, your heart and staying out of your head. And I've gotten so many messages about people like, man, when you say that, that really resonated with me. Like that's something I really felt. And just the messages of encouragement I've gotten have been mind blowing. I thought I'd get on YouTube and I would just deal with haters all day. Only recently do I, because of the live videos and stuff and some of the shorts, but like the people who actually subscribe to the channel, who comment on my actual videos, dude, it's like all love. It's incredibly a loving community, and really blows my mind just how freaking supportive and loving the people are who are actual subscribers of the channel, and it's like I know them all. It's crazy. It's like when they comment, like I know every single one of them. Like I know our past conversations, I know their past comments. People might not realize it, but like all the people who I interact with on a regular basis, like I know them. It's like I know who these are, who these people are. I these are people. It's like feels like these are people I know, and because we've had so many interactions now. So it's like on one hand, it's like, man, I don't even want the channel to get too big. I mean, I do, but it's like I love being able to still answer the comments and connect with people and stuff. I mean, people might not know, but I genuinely enjoy the connection with other people.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And even when I started out, when my channel had like 200 subscribers, I remember I was following you and you followed me back. And I shot you a message. I forgot which pre-workout I was reviewing. It was one of my early videos with the ghetto background here with the barbell and the Insane Labs poster I had inverted. But you watched it and you gave me a little bit of criticism, like, what do you call it? Positive criticism. And we talked back and forth. And that's really what built our connection on Instagram. And we just ended up having conversations about life, about God, about family, and a whole bunch of stuff. And we just became really close friends. And you are that kind of person. You're a very giving person and you have a very big heart. And I think that's why a lot of people can relate to you and enjoy your channel, because you're genuine. You're always going to have these haters on Reddit or whatever. And I have my share of Reddit haters too. Don't get it twisted. I got my share of Reddit haters, but you know what? It's always the vocal minority that makes the most noise. But really normal, everyday people love and appreciate what you do. And I think it's incredible. But I want to talk about your channel taking off, because you mentioned your channel eventually got to the point taking off. You have 3 pre-workout collaborations, Maniaco Pump, and Tweak, all 3 incredible products, which I love personally in my personal stash. So would you say that was the point where you felt like the Garage Gym Homie brand took off to the next level, or was it maybe a little bit before then? Where would you feel like was that transition that kind of took you to the next level?
Well, if you want the truth, dude, I don't really look at my channel as being on the next level. I still like it's never enough, like it still feels, it feels like, man, I really want to see this thing like go to that level that, like it should be, like
I remember in one of your videos you mentioned the Trent twins. I think it was like a few videos before you reviewed their pre-workouts, and you're like, wow, these guys are doing it right, millions of views, they're training. I remember you talked about that for a little bit.
Well, let me tell you when I really like it hit me really hard. Me and Stephanie were in Puerto Rico, and we were walking down the street and a guy ran up to me and he's like, let me take a picture with you, man. You're the Garage Gym dude. And I'm like, man, this guy knows me from Puerto Rico. Like,
I remember you posted the picture on your story. You posted that picture.
And it wasn't just that, like, that happened, because like that could happen and I could talk about it, but it was that it happened and like Stephanie was there to see it and share it with me. That was a really big part of it. And then the next day I'm walking down the street with her and it happened again, 2 days in a row in Puerto Rico. And somebody else was like, dude, I was just watching your Gorilla Mode review. Like, dude, can I get a picture with you? 2 people, like 2 different days, asked me in front of Stephanie. I was like, this is insane. Like I couldn't, it was so surreal. And
Wow.
it felt like for something positive. You know what I mean? Like for once in my life, like I was known for something. Like I used to be known for selling dope and doing dirt and pimping women, like disgusting behavior, you know, acting like Mr. Cool Guy. And it was like felt like it was for something positive, you know, and um that's when I was like, wow, like this is freaking a thing, you know, this has turned into a thing. And I don't know, man. I just can't believe, you know, where it's gone. And I think like you see a lot of people on Instagram and they have like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. But I just think it's something different on YouTube. You know, like it's not the same. It doesn't convert to the same. You know, it's not the
No, it
same.
doesn't.
Anyone could scroll and see a video on Instagram, but you have to click to watch that video on YouTube. Like to get people to watch your video is harder. You know, it's difficult, you
Not to
know.
mention that YouTube, the videos that we do are considered long form videos. People in today's generation have the
Yeah.
attention span of fruit fly. You know, they watch a 30-second video and they're already scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So, you know,
Yeah.
if you're committing to watching a 15, 16,
Yeah.
17-minute video, it's definitely on a whole other level.
Dude, I'm just like feeling like I just want to get it while it's hot. You know, I don't have the best physique in the world, but like it's like, how long am I going to stay in tip top shape, you know, until I can't, you know? So I might as well put what I can into this, you know, while I can, and, and just get as much out of it as I can. So I don't look back and say, I wish I did more. You know, I'm
Yeah.
investing. I got this guy now who comes and films me doing workouts and edits, and I pay for it. And it's not freaking cheap, dude. It's not, but I believe enough in the channel and the brand to invest in it at this point, you
Mhm.
know. And
Yeah.
it's been a growing experience, dude. The biggest thing is not to second guess myself. You know, a lot of people on the internet will try and have you second guessing yourself on your freaking the way you train, the way you look, or you're freaking balding, your nose is big, you're freaking, you know, you're on testosterone, this, every little thing. They'll, and it's a great growing experience to be true to yourself and always be who you are to the core and genuine and transparent. And people, I believe in my heart, will see that. When people want to start a channel, my first advice to them is always be genuine and always be transparent. The viewer, if you're just trying to sell the viewer something, they will see right through that, dude. Like if that's your goal, like, you know how many people are out there just selling coaching programs, and it's so obvious that's
Oh,
all they
yeah.
want to do. It's like, if you're not bringing value to the viewer in a true, authentic way, dude, people see right through that. The viewers are not stupid. I mean, some of them are, but most viewers are pretty dang bright. And you're never going to be smarter than your audience. They're always going to see exactly what you're putting, especially as much content as I drop. I mean, I'm here every day. So when people like see my videos for 5 years and maybe they have a feeling like they know who I am, it's because they do. You know,
Mhm.
they've seen enough of me to know what they're getting, you know.
So this is a perfect segue because I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about your philosophy behind running the channel, specifically like what's your mindset when it comes to reviewing a product. You talk about being honest and open, and I 100% see you as a very honest reviewer, and I trust you pretty much 100% when it comes to all the reviews you do. But is it a little bit difficult sometimes when all these new products come out, and you know how these companies are, everyone says their pre-workout's number one, oh, this is the best, this is the best. Is it hard to stay neutral and balanced and objective in such a hyped up industry?
Well, you know, there was a time where I realized that as a reviewer, my job was not to say if something's good or bad. You know, I realize my job as a reviewer like how I do it is I just want to take the product and share my experience with it. The viewer can kind of decide if it's good or bad for them based on my experience, you know. So I don't need to. everybody really wants to push you to give a bad review. They love that. They love seeing a bad review because they think that's what makes you honest. You know, I tell people, I saw somebody comment on Reddit once, and they said, if not, they were talking about me, talking junk, okay? And they said, if 9 out of 10 of somebody's reviews are positive, then that person's full of junk. And my response to that was, if 9 out of 10 of my reviews are positive, then I screwed up somewhere because I allowed a product to come my way that I didn't like. I don't want to accept products that I want 10 out of 10 of my reviews to be positive. I don't want to accept garbage products. When I see a freaking label I'm not interested in, I don't want to accept that product. I don't want to waste my workout on reviewing something that I don't think I'm going to enjoy. You know, so 5 years in now doing this, over 5 years, I pretty much have it down to a science based on the company, who's manufacturing it, you know, every little angle on, am I going to like this product before even trying it? Most of the time I have a pretty good gauge on knowing if I'm going to enjoy something, you know, when you've done enough of these. And so is it hard to stay true to myself? It's hard to, there's always fear when coming to giving a bad review because I have relationships with people and you don't want to hurt them. But I believe in my heart that being honest is always the best way. And I think there's, even with a bad product, you can highlight, there's pros and cons of everything. I think
100%.
Always pros and cons of everything that you take. And you can always show some love and still be honest. And it's a craft to learn how to do that and to keep your relationships in check. And but I've helped a lot of brands by giving bad reviews because I don't know if you remember, like Toxic Masculinity came out. Like, for example, he was able to he sent me a review. He sent me a product. It claimed DMHA. I took that product and I said, I hate doing this, but this does not have DMHA.
I remember that review. I remember.
Give it a bad review, terrible review. Dude, I felt bad because it was an up and coming company. The dude sent it over. He was clearly trying to make a good product. He was not trying to screw everybody. He got screwed by his manufacturer.
I remember.
So he was able to go back to the manufacturer and say, look at this guy's review. And he got his money back for the product. And then he went on to a different manufacturer and was able to make good products. And if I didn't give that bad review, it wouldn't help somebody to give a positive review for a bad product. That would only hurt them in the long run because then they think there's no value in that. So it just brings value to not only the viewer, but also the brand to give a bad review. And I have to remember that.
Yeah.
No. And if they're not open to hearing it, man, that's their problem. The longer I'm on YouTube, the smaller my circle gets, the less people I want to deal with. You know, pretty much I'm at the point where it's like, if NutriCartel is not carrying the product, I don't really want to really deal with it right now because I don't need affiliate links with 50,000 people that I have to keep track of every month. You know, I don't want
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. It's just too many people to deal with. It's too much. It's just too much. So if I find a great pre-workout now and I want to review it and I'm like, man, this is such a great product and I want to give my viewers a chance to get it, I'll just say, Jake, would you pick up this product and have it in your store so it all can go one way? So I'm just dealing with less people, you know.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned DMHA earlier. We love our DMHA. We love our high Stim pre-workouts, obviously, and I've reviewed my share. So the next question I wanted to ask you was, how do you balance your faith and your belief in God with, reviewing these pre-workouts. And I personally have my way of doing it for myself because I'm also a faith-based person. But for you specifically, especially as somebody who dealt with addiction in the past, and people say, oh, DMHA could be addictive and whatever, people always go off under tangents. But how do you find that balance between being a man of God and talking about sobriety and all that, and then taking these pre-workouts where I guess you could say some people would consider it to be illicit and maybe even addictive on a certain level?
Well, caffeine's addictive. I mean, caffeine's addictive. I mean, anything's addictive. It's the same advice I'm going to say for myself as I would give somebody else. And I've gotten this question a lot from my viewers, and they've asked me not about me, but about them. They say, I'm a recovering. They'd say I'm, an addict, and I'm sober now. Is it okay for me to take a DMHA pre-workout? And my answer for them will be, you have to listen to your heart, because if your head is going crazy and you're finding yourself obsessing about these products and you're finding that you're abusing them and you don't think you can use them properly, meaning with some restriction. I use DMHA pre-workouts on Wednesday and Saturday, generally twice a week, and that's it. And if you can't do that without your head going crazy, then they're probably not for you. I'm not saying you have to use the same schedule as me. I'm just saying that if you're finding this, I see my brother on here talking junk.
I wasn't even looking at the chat. I haven't looked at the chat the entire conversation we had. Oh, there he is. What up, Shelby? Welcome to the stream.
I don't think about it. I take the pre and I'm not in my head about it. I just take, whatever pre I really want. It's like, it's not a really big deal, but you do have to be on guard for this stuff, especially as an addict or alcoholic, and that's why I created rules for myself. I don't take more than the serving of these products. I'm not taking double scoops of anything or, going
playing mad chemist,
it.
adding a whole bunch of stuff.
No, dude, I took crack primal yesterday for High Stim Saturday. Dude, I take the exact serving as on there of 16.7, whatever it was. Dude, I was flying all freaking day. I mean, felt amazing, felt awesome. I never build a tolerance to them where they don't work. I could take a daily driver, still hits great. What did I take? I just took the freaking Samurai Science one the other day.
I like that one a lot.
It had what, 250 mgs of caffeine or something. I freaking felt awesome.
That's a great pre-workout.
Yeah, awesome.
Can't wait for your review.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to drop that review tomorrow. So, like, you have to be on guard and follow your heart, man. And I'm okay taking them. And there might be a day where I hear like, hey, it's time to move on from them. Maybe it's not. And maybe it's not good to use them anymore, but I enjoy them, man. I enjoy them. And, look, man, I got off dope and I'm left with some pre-workout and some cheat meals. And
it's a good trade-off.
Yeah, it's a good life. It's a good life.
I personally, I can only speak for myself, but, I used to be a pot addict, and I don't care about people saying it's not addictive. I was addicted for close to 10 years, and it caused me to become obese and depressed and deal with a whole bunch of issues. But for me, after getting off of weed on that crazy level that I was consuming it on, pre-workouts in a way kind of replaced that high for me. So it kind of filled a little gap for that addict, if you want to call it that. But I take that buzz and I channel it towards something positive, which in this case is training, which changed my life. I always say the gym saved my life, and I'm not just saying that as like a catchphrase or anything. The gym really saved my life. At 28 years old, when I was close to 400 pounds and I had a fatty liver and I couldn't even do 8 minutes on the treadmill for the stress test, and they wanted to put me on blood pressure medication, that was a wake-up call for me, And it wasn't until a little later, thanks to our friend TJ from Fitness Deal News, where I started discovering pre-workouts. And, of course, the first pre-workout I ever took from the illicit side of things was dark energy. You know how much I love my dark energy, but that was a whole crazy story. But I literally take these products and I channel it towards something positive. So maybe certain weeks I'll run DMHA pre-workouts 3 times a week instead of twice a week. Never more than that. I really rotate them very responsibly now, but that's essentially it. I take that feeling and I channel it towards something positive. So for me, that's always been a good thing. And luckily for me, I don't even think about the other stuff I used to do in the past. It just doesn't really enter my mind. So whether you want to say that I've been cured or God's watching out for me, it's essentially the same situation.
Yeah, I always, as the industry moves away from DMHA more and more, like there's a lot of pre's I take where might be like I took an Insane Labs psychopath or something more, just some alpha yo, some caffeine or whatever. Every time I think I take a pre like that and I'm just feeling amazing, I'm thinking, when all that DMHA, all that stuff, it's fun to use, but when it goes away, man, I'll be just fine. I'm good without. I mean, I just enjoy pumping iron, number one, and I get all. If I had a Transparent Labs bulk black or just something fun to eat. My high stim Saturday before the channel, I used to go to Starbucks and get a blonde roast, and my head would be spinning, So of course, I built some tolerance since then. But I know, man, when it's time to, we keep moving away from more and more ingredients, and doesn't change my workouts. I mean, I get the buzz that I enjoy from the training, and half of my training's stim free anyway. When I do a lot of my my cardio in the afternoon, stim free and all that. And I just love working out, man. I just freaking genuinely love lifting weights and love doing cardio and getting the buzz. And that's number one, man. I mean, that's what I care about, is just the workouts alone. I walk away 12 years later, man, training, and I still get the workout high where I just feel freaking good after. Such a
There's
gift.
nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And even here, I do like the high stim pre-workouts. I'm high stim ace, obviously, but I can train on the regular stuff too. I mean, heck, I can run a non-stim pre-workout. I can add like 100 milligrams of caffeine to it, little caffeine tablet, and I'm good. I can go in for 45 minutes, an hour. Not every, I used to have this weird mentality that every workout I did had to be like 2 hours and I had to absolutely exhaust myself of every last bit of energy. That was me when I got into fitness at 28, 29. But now I'm kind of thinking longevity, partially torn labrum, joint issues, knee issues, back issues, what have you, And I just kind of dialed into training a little bit. You could still have an amazing session in 45 minutes to an hour. You don't have to be going 2 hours every day. Not every workout you have to be hopped up and eyes wide and pupils dilated and you're running around like the honeycomb man. You don't have to do that every single workout. These days I get home later from work. I get home at 6. I get to the gym by 6:30. By 7:30, I'm out of there. I can run a daily driver and I'm completely fine. Because like you said, you enjoy the process. You enjoy the grind. And I do enjoy it. I love it. I love challenging myself. So to me, I don't need the high stim stuff.
I'm very conscious of how I use them. Like anyone who knows me knows I don't touch caffeine unless it's going towards a workout. And I only allow myself 1 shot a day of it. So if I'm going to take any stimulants, I get to do it one. There's no afternoon pick me up or any of that. And that's just my rules. I'm not saying everyone should live like that. I love doing it so much. Taking the ritual of working out, taking the pumping iron. I don't want it to get old. I don't want to do anything to burn that down. That's why I schedule rest weeks, where I go cold turkey and I don't have a drop of caffeine for the entirety of the, 9-10 days that I'm out. I don't work out. I don't do cardio 4 times a year. I'm willing to sacrifice and practice restrictions so I can use these products successfully. And give accurate reviews too, because I'm not trying products and I don't pretend to. I don't tell people I ran this pre 5 times and now I'm reviewing. Some people do run it multiple times. I think you run them multiple times,
2 or 3 times
Two or
usually,
three.
depending on the
I do a
product.
lot of them once. I just get so many products where it's like, dude, it's just entertainment on YouTube. It's not that big of a deal, for me, like where I feel like I have to, I just don't like, if I run it 3 times, it's because I really love it,
Yeah.
It's like, if something sucks, I don't really want to waste another workout running it again. That's miserable to me.
100%. There was a little bit of Reddit drama recently. Not going to get into it here, but there was a little bit of Reddit drama. Certain somebody called out another certain somebody, and you know how it is. I stay far away from all that BS and all that noise. But maybe it'll appear on your next Reddit Reacts video. That is my favorite content that you release. I love those Reddit videos, bro. I mean, all your content I love, but Reddit Reacts, bro, I can just listen to it. Yeah, man, because I'll listen to it with one earbud while I'm at work. If I'm driving or whatever, I don't even need the video. Just the audio is enough for me. And I just start laughing, and it really makes my day go by faster.
It makes good conversation.
It does. It does. So we're going to end it off with one last question. Then we're going to go into the Q&A. Obviously, there was a lot of stuff that we still didn't discuss, but we're going for an hour and 10 minutes already. It feels like we're just having a conversation here, but, time is passing by. I want you to give a message to anybody right now watching, maybe somebody who's struggling with whatever aspect of their life. Maybe it's their training, maybe they have some personal issues, family issues, what have you. A lot of people that come to us from a hopeless place, and you've been there. You've been in that pit of despair, so you know about feeling at the bottom of the well. What message would you give to somebody watching this right now?
Well, I would tell people, man, like, first of all, if I could do it, anybody can do it. Because I was in deeper than anyone I know. I mean, with addiction, and that's not a brag. I ran with the worst of the worst heroin addicts, and I didn't know anyone who was more hardcore than I was when it comes to that addiction and that needle. And if you saw me then and you saw me now, you would know, man, that with a spiritual life, anything is possible. No matter how deep down you are, man, no matter, I don't care if you're living on the streets and you're knocking on death's door, you can come out of this. And it's not too late to make a beginning, and to have some hope. And I always tell people too, man, just so they know, the viewer knows, anybody who's struggling, my number one purpose is to be helpful to addicts and alcoholics. Anybody can always hit me up, garagegymhomie@gmail.com. And I would be honored to give my time to anybody who's struggling. And I give people my number who I met through the channel if I believe they're sincere. And I'll always take anybody through the 12 steps and help them in any way that I can. So don't give up. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. Trust me.
Absolutely amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for that. So we're going to go through the chat right now. I actually haven't kept up with the chat at all this entire conversation. So if there's any questions, if you guys want to get in any last second questions, put it in the chat right now. We're going to go through most of them. We actually did an Instagram live story a couple of days ago, but for some reason, usually when they ask the questions, it saves everything. For some reason, it didn't save it, and I kind of lost all the questions. But I remember one of those questions was asking, when is Stim going to visit the garage gym and get in a live workout? So hopefully soon, man, because definitely I got to meet you in person one of these days soon. But I'm just going through here. I want to see what we got. I know we have a couple of people. Everyone's very hyped up. Let's go GGH from our buddy Lance. God is good, 100%. There was a question here. Oh, our buddy Hammerstone tuning in mid-flight. Much love. Excited to be watching. Shouts out to you, brother. He's actually coming back from France. He went to wrestle a match in France, so that's pretty cool.
He's a legend.
Oh, Hammerstone's my boy, bro. He's another one that I got super close with, just like I did with you, where we just started chatting a little bit and we became like brothers over time. Me and Hammer only know each other for like 5-6 months, but I feel like I know him since childhood. We talk every single day. So much love to Alex Hammerstone.
He's a kind guy.
This is an interesting one. What's up with Fitness Deal News? So I'm assuming it's his absence on YouTube. Do you have any insider information?
Yeah,
or you're as clueless?
No. He runs. He has a lot of work. He got away from the channel. He does a lot of traveling for work. I think he does cybersecurity stuff and has some companies he deals with. So he just focuses on that, I think, and probably got tired of fatigue of the channel. The BS.
Yeah, I mean, I know he always did it as a hobby, but I love TJ, man. His energy is contagious. You know, I used to always crack up watching his reviews when he talks about the beta alanine tingles, man. Shouts out to TJ, OG Fitness Deal News. Let me see what we got here. How many pre-workouts do you try and just throw out because they are so bad? So we kind of touched upon that earlier, but you want to elaborate a little bit more?
I don't throw any out. I sell them if I don't keep them. If they don't stay in my rotation, I have a list of pre's I sell, and I just sell them for $20 a tub, and so people could have them real cheap, you know. And
you're getting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I try. How many pre-workouts do you try and just throw out? I've reviewed 600 pre-workouts. And that's a lot of pre-workouts, plus fat burners, plus non-stim. That's just stim pre-workouts, 600. I have a separate full, because I have a playlist for it, so I see as it's building up. And then I don't throw them out. I'll just I sell them, you know, and that way people can get them real cheap. Because if I don't like them, somebody else might like them. You know, they got to be really good to be in my rotation. You know, I only have 12 in my rotation right now. And so it's got to be like something really freaking good.
You know? 100%. You're getting a lot of love in the chat. I'm just scrolling through a lot of comments. A lot of people really look up to you. This is one that I'm highlighting here. One time I was going through a rough situation. I reached out and GGH was nice enough to talk to me for like 40 minutes on a random Tuesday night. Such a solid dude.
Oh, that's really nice of you, man. I don't know who this is, but I'm glad to connect, and hopefully it was helpful, man. And I hope to God it was helpful. So, yeah,
we're getting you're getting a lot of love on here. This ain't Reddit, that's for sure. This is definitely not Reddit. People really looking up to you. I'm just trying to see if we're able to find any actual questions. It's just a lot of love, a lot of
584 pre-workout reviews I've done. Plus the ones I haven't uploaded yet. I'm going on 600.
Wow. We got Lance over here. It seems like there's a whole conversation going on in here with Lance. He says, "Hey, GGH, I'm out of the shed and got a real place. I'm on my knees every day thanking the Lord for what I got, all the pain I had to go through. God bless you."
I'm happy for you, man. I'm really happy to hear that, man. God bless you. That's amazing. That is amazing.
That is incredible. Yeah, it seems like just a lot of conversations going on in here.
Yeah.
Just trying to see if I got any other questions. Let's see what we got over here. Supreme Homie. Yeah, just getting a lot of love, man. I think you got to stay off the Reddit and just be on YouTube all the time because you're really
the Reddit, you know, it's interesting, some of it to see. And you know, a lot of it, people just send me posts because they know I do the Reddit reaction videos. And they're like, look what this guy's saying. Look what that's saying. So I'll bookmark it and stuff. And then I'll go over it, you know, the next time I do a Reddit react video. Some of this stuff is so outrageous.
Oh my God. I thought it was you with your 20 alt accounts just making these posts so you can make content.
Yeah, I got a lot of time for that.
A lot of free time. A question from our friend Hammerstone. Guys, subscribe to Alex Hammerstone on his YouTube channel. I'm going to link it after this live ends. He says, question, does GGH even know how to halfway activate the pump? Follow-up, has he ever full-way activated the pump?
Dude, he did the funniest freaking Maniaco video. He spit out like every one of my lines before I could even like think to say it. Like he had it down so like good. It was so epic. I was like blown away. I was so humbled that he knew all the lines like that. Like it was like he put out like 60 references that I use, like my whole script. And it was freaking cool to see, dude. It was like, wow, people really watched the video. It was like one of those moments where it's like, wow, he really pays attention to the videos. Like he really sees the videos enough where he knows all this. It's like it was like a humble, it was like a nice compliment, you
It
know.
was really awesome. And I didn't ask him, but I guarantee you he did it in one take because part of being a pro wrestler is cutting
Right.
promos, having your on-screen persona,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
running your promos, talking about people. So for him,
He
that's
did
why I
this
told
one
him.
moment where he like paused and he was like, Gemma, come on. And I was like, I thought it was like so perfectly done. Like no one else could have done that. It was just,
Yeah, no, Hammer's great. I watch some of his matches on YouTube because he works for a bunch of different companies. He's a freelancer, so
yeah,
he works at a bunch of different companies, and a lot of these smaller brands they stream on YouTube, MLW, and like a couple of these other wrestling promotions. And I really enjoy it. I mean, besides the fact that he's a beast in the ring, but the fact that he cuts the promos and he's so in character, I
yeah.
freaking love him, man. I love
He's
and
a lot
appreciate.
like me, man. He just puts his heart and soul into the bodybuilding life, and he's like got that craziness in his head like I do with where he's just dialed in like
Oh yeah.
2 a days and all that craziness, you know. Yeah,
GGH got catchphrases that adds to your brand, homie. Of course, you got to have the catchphrases, obviously.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Looks like we got one more question in here. Protein powder whey or whey isolate, and why?
When you say whey, do you mean like whey concentrate or I mean I think they're both good. You know, I really try and rely on real food, and I do a shake once a day. Man, if you want the truth, I mean, when it comes to these supplements like protein powders, I couldn't really say that they do anything. I don't really know. You know, I just take them because it's one time a day where I could get, some protein and have a shake and it's easy to get in. But I don't have too much faith in any of it. I mean, and I could say that about a lot of supplements. It's like even like creatine, like I was talking about this, like I take it just because the studies show it does something. I've been on creatine for 12 years and to 12 years later can't say it. I can say it's done one thing for me. I don't really know. I just take it because if you do a concentrate and it's like 80%, it's fine. Isolate, they kind of hit the muscles at different rates, with the absorption, but either one is fine. It's good to have a couple different sources so you get the best of all the worlds. Even 5% has like a full animal protein,
I saw that.
chicken, beef, egg, with no milk products in it and no dairy. And like that's a cool product. I just think getting different sources is good. And but I don't have much stock in any of the protein powders I mean, I just rely on real food mostly.
It's the best way to. That's the best way to do it. And seriously, the way you cook, the way you grill those steaks, man, I don't blame you. I'd be eating that over my proteins as well.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. We're gonna do one more question, and then we're gonna call it afterwards. Does Ari have any favorite books? Are you a reader? I don't think we ever actually discussed this.
I'm a reader, man. When you're locked up in prison, you read a lot of freaking books, man. And I have one favorite book I'll recommend to everybody. It's by Sidney Sheldon, and it's called Master of the Game. And it's the best book I've ever read. It's a fiction book. Anybody will enjoy it, and you will not be able to put it down. I've read it twice when I was locked up. And look up Master of the Game by Sidney Sheldon. Amazing book. Yeah,
I will check that out. I'm actually a reader also, not that anyone was asking about my list of books, but I like fiction and a little embarrassing, but I enjoy young adult novels because they're about 200 to 300 pages. There's always mystery, murders involved, backstabbing, lots of drama, and a little bit of horror elements, which you guys know I'm a huge horror fiend. So I will read those books, whether it's Fear Street from R.L. Stine or this book series I'm reading right now, One of Us is Lying. That's a really fun series, but I'm into all those books as well. People don't know that about me. They look at me, I'm 6'4". They think I'm some kind of idiot jock, but in reality, I do like to read. I've always been a big reader, a big nerd, so that's a little bit. That's a little bit about Heistemes. And that's
my mom, rest in peace, was a librarian. So books hold a special place to my heart, man. Thinking about her.
That's awesome.
She would be mortified probably if she saw everyone reading from a screen today. With the everyone reads their books from a screen. I think she valued books a lot.
I actually have a massive book collection, paperbacks and some hardcovers, even all my old Stephen King books from back in the day when I was in high school. There's nothing like paper, and I'm one of those weirdos that I'll open the book and I'll take a sniff from the actual paper because there's just something nostalgic about that. I do have a Kindle also. I got it for like $60, but I don't like reading off a screen. I'm old school. Give me the paperbacks anytime, and that's just the way we like to do it here.
Yeah.
Oh, one last question. This is a super chat. Thank you so much. And we will call it after this. What is Ari's definition of happiness? I think this is a great question to end it off
on. Well, I'll say this, man, and it's not going to be a direct answer to this, but I always say this about happiness. People who I know who are truly happy never evaluate how happy they are because they're not thinking about themselves that much. They're thinking about the happiness of other people and what they could do for them. And so I would say happiness would be not even thinking about how happy you are or knowing, because you're not thinking of self so much to even be evaluating that. I don't know one happy person who spends a second in the day thinking, how happy am I? They're never happy. The people who think about how happy they are, I've met a lot of them. It's like the people who think about mental health constantly. They're never mentally healthy for some reason, and I think getting away from self and thinking about what we could do for other people and their happiness, we in turn become happy. And so it's not really a definition, but it's the closest thing I have to the answer.
I love it. That's a relatively simple answer on the surface, but there's a lot of depth to those words. So really incredible. And I think that we are going to call it here. There's a bunch more comments and questions and a lot of stuff going on here, but I can't really keep up with it. So that's it. We are done with the interview. Ari, my friend, I really want to thank you for coming on the channel. It really means so much to me.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a blessing to connect, and we have a lot of good conversation, man, on the down low.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Give your plugs, my friend, where people can follow you on Instagram, email, YouTube, whatever you want to plug. By all means, go ahead.
Yep. Thank you. Instagram at Garage Gym Homie, and YouTube, same thing. My channel, Garage Gym Homie, and my email is really for anyone who's struggling and needs any help. You want to talk, if you're an addict or alcoholic, or you think you might be, or I'm here, garagegymhomie@gmail.com. So it's all Garage Gym Homie.
Keeping it simple and universal across everything. I love it. Once again, guys, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. Everybody who was active on the chat. Appreciate you guys. Subscribe to the High Stim Ace YouTube workout reviews and other supplement reviews, unbiased as always. We're branching out a little bit into interviews, podcasts, got a bunch of announcements coming soon, so definitely subscribe, stay tuned, like the video, and of course follow Garage Gym Homie over on his YouTube channel. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Ari, I love you. I value our friendship. You really mean the world to me, so thank you. I'm blessed to have you in my life.
Love you too, brother. Thank you.
All righty, everybody. Take care. Until next time. High Stim Ace and Garage Gym Homie signing off.